it's Twintuitive717. I'm back with another video. I just want to thank everyone for watching, liking, subscribing to the channel. It really means the world to me. So I have some cards here that I wanted to share with everyone, and I do sincerely hope that many of the messages resonate with you and brings you some kind of peace in your connection. So right now I feel that this reading is meant for many of you who have come into contact with your masculine again through, I guess you would call it 3D communication, because we're always communicating with them in the fifth dimension. So through dreams, thoughts, telepathy, feelings, emotions. But as we all know, it's not easy to communicate with them in the 3D, whether it's through texting, through phone. Many of us have had failed attempts at meeting our counterparts in the physical. We've tried over and over and over again, and it just never seems to come together. And that's really a huge sign of the twin flame connection. And I feel that for many of you, the coming together physically just won't seem to come together because of the intensity between you two. And there's still a lot more purging of emotions around how you both feel towards each other. It just needs to kind of get out there in the air. And I feel that the safest way for you to do it right now is through texting and phone conversations. And then once you get over that plateau of those heavy, intense emotions, then you can meet in the physical. Because what's going to happen is, if right now either of you push to meet in the physical and there's still a lot of this intensity, when you part ways or go home, that's when I feel like long periods of separation tend to happen, just because of the intensity. So many of you get angry because your masculines don't, call you, and they only want to text. They're putting in very little effort to meet with you. And it's not that they don't love you or intensely feel for you and want to grow this connection. It's just that it is literally making them feel full of anxiety. I sense that many of them, when they text you, like, or you answer their text and you guys are all of a sudden in a conversation where you're texting back and forth, like, he needs like a brown paper bag beside him to be like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just get that image, and it's crazy because he's never found himself in this position before. And many of us feel this way when we do encounter our twin flames. It's just not like any other earthly relationship that you have ever experienced before. This person literally makes you turn inside out. They make you freeze up and you lose your words and you just can't seem to think straight. And I deeply sense that the masculines are just going through this right now, and that they want to send a message to ask the feminines to be patient with them in this process and try to connect with them more on the fifth dimension to understand truly what they feel for you, rather than making assumptions about what's happening in the physical. Because we have to remember, in the physical, there's just so many other dynamics at play and so many other souls that we're both interacting with on a daily basis. So as you can see, it's easy for certain energies to seep into our consciousness and affect the way we think, unless we put a lot of thought and focus into what's my thoughts and what's someone else's. Am I genuinely feeling this way, or is it someone else's feelings that I'm picking up on? So these are the kinds of things that he's working through right now in order to get clear messages about how he himself feels about the divine feminine. Not anybody else's perspective who he may have shared this journey with. Now he doesn't care for anybody else's opinion. And the reason I feel like he doesn't care for anybody else's opinion is because God and the universe has shown him in his own way about who the feminine is. And that's something that he can't deny. So now that's why many of them are shutting themselves off from a lot of family and friends that they were very, very close enough to share the twin flame story with. But now, with those people's opinions and perspectives, he's starting to filter out, who's truthfully wanting happiness for him and who is not. Because what's happening is he's sharing his intense feelings about how he feels for her, and then he's being met with resistance from other people. And in turn, what that's doing for him is letting him see who who wants happiness for him and who is more focused on their own agendas. So now, getting into the cards, it's like he's, remembering who he is. And it says here that Archangel Michael is around him. You are a powerful, loving, and creative child of God. You are very loved. So with that support and the you are very loved part, I feel comes from the feminine. So Archangel Michael is there reminding him that he's loved and he's protected. And if he does tune into the feminine energy, then he gets a very clear channel of what really makes him happy. And then once he's in that happy state, he can think a lot more clearly about what he needs to do in order to sustain some kind of equilibrium again in his life. So whether that's in regards to his work, where he lives, his finances, he can think more clearly about those things and pull them all together when he knows that there is a divine, protected, safe feeling around him and his feminine's connection. And for too long, I feel that the people around him are who the people around him, they're the ones who was making him feel really insecure about the connection. And it's almost like they were creating stories around the feminine, and then he was starting to believe it. So when he was communicating with the feminine, he was hasty and aggressive and things like that, as though these stories were actually true. Do you know what I mean? And the feminine would be all like, what? Sorry, why am I being attacked again? I don't. So the feminine was, always caught off guard, and that was because of other energies penetrating the connection, because the feminines are now in a place of peace, right? So they have a lot of humor about this journey. The masculines come around now, and they feel that peace around her because they want to know why she just laughs at everything when they are pulling their hair out trying to understand this connection. And it's because she's been there, done that. And it was tiring for a long time. And just like she's letting the dove go in the image here, the feminines really had to let go in order to attain a lot of peace in her life. Let go of expectations about what this whole twin flame journey means. And, just really let go of a lot of expectations about how she felt around the masculine, and if he was communicating what it meant, if he was not communicating what it meant. Now she's just going with the flow and accepting herself, taking care of herself more, trying to understand and connect with her own thoughts. And that's really bringing her a lot of peace, because for me personally, when I started to trust the twin flame journey and stop questioning all of the signs and synchronicities and what it meant and what it could mean, I just started going with the flow, and that in turn made me create. I didn't wait for synchronicities to happen to try to see what it meant and didn't mean. I would get a synchronicity, pay attention to the very first thought that came to my head, and if it felt good, I would run with it. If it felt bad, I would drop the thought and start manifesting and creating what I did want out of that thought. And so these are the kinds of things that the feminine energies are starting to experience, right? It's like we're really experiencing peace on the journey because now our masculines are stepping forward towards us on their own. And many of the masculines who are stepping forward on their own, they're now needing just like that simple conversation with the feminine, that counselor in her, that wise woman in her who receives channeling, receives divine messages. He wants to tap into that more. But in order to tap into this kind of woman, he needs to remember who he is. And Archangel Michael is trying to help him do that. And so with Archangel Michael's help, I feel that the masculines are in really good hands and that the feminine can really just relax and be at peace with everything that's going on in her life because the scales are balancing. I hope this message finds you all well. Take care, and I will speak to you soon in the next video.